Hello, folks. Good afternoon. I seem to be doing these at least once a day now. Hopefully you guys can hear me and everything's good. Hope you're having a great Thanksgiving break. I know I am. I forgot to put my logo up. There you go. So I'm going to show something really cool today. We talked about this a few days ago, and I have finally gotten to. I finally got enough motivation to get this done. So for those of you who've been around a while, you know that we made a 3D printed switch. This one right here, fairly popular. It's made kind of lots of places, and it's a good smashable button that you can hit, and it's tough and it lasts. But it's got some challenges. It's not great for people who need a really light touch. It's not certainly not small. It's a big old button. So it's got, and in fact, it could be made a lot skinnier now that we're not putting a jack in it anymore. So this is a great switch, and we're going to make some this weekend, but I also need something for those who need a smaller switch. And so I posted a note a few days ago about the various different people who are trying to make this happen. So Scott from Pennsylvania and Noah and Brady and I, and probably more, who I'm not thinking of, Todd, I think worked on one as well, have all kind of taken a stab at making a small, light touch, small AT switch that is 3D printable and easily made. And I kind of wanted to do that this weekend at the Adaptathon. And when I went and looked at the different designs that were out there, I thought I could probably gather some of the benefits of them and pull them together. So I did. And I think what I've got right now is a B, maybe a B+. It certainly is good enough that I want to share this, and I want to make them this weekend. So I thought I'd walk through kind of what I have, how we got here, and how you put one together. I'm just going to say hi all. Turns out if I don't type something into the chat room, I don't see your messages. So join me in the Facebook chat if you can. Say you're here. And hi, Lori, my wife Lori joined. That's great. Hopefully you'll have some time over the weekend if you want to make some of these. As soon as I'm done with this video, I'm going to stop it, and then I'm going to start another video where we're actually going to, I'm going to live take apart and do the, I shouldn't say right away. I have to move to the other room for the soldering iron. But I'm going to show you how to adapt the tube cars, zoom tubes. And I'll be doing that in probably about a half an hour or so. So let's take a look at kind of where we started on these switches and where I ended up. So I had actually gotten to the point with this. Let me see if I can make this a little easier for you guys to see. I had actually come to the conclusion that the best way to make a truly light touch switch, let me move things around a little bit here. There we go. Was to take a microlight switch and mount it so that it becomes a double lever. So it's a compound lever, one on this side and one on that side. And if you do that, you have the lightest touch. Got to keep the screw in it. Hold on a second. That will come to one of the problems with this design in a second. But this does give you an exceptionally light touch to activate that switch. I added these for adjusting it up and down. And there's a lot that's good about this switch. Simplicity and ease of build is not one of them. There's a lot that can go wrong. There is no place to put a mount, so you can put it on a camera mount or anything like that, and there's not really any room for that. So I made a bigger version, and then that got rid of one of the big benefits is it's nice and small. Also, this is really tall. It's probably an inch and a half tall. So this is where I was when I started this the other day. Scott from Pennsylvania, from the Helix group, had created this one. And this has got some pros and cons as well. So first, the print is very simple and fast. It does absolutely work, and it is fairly light touch. Very short throw is true. It's certainly a very short throw to activate this. That's actually clicking. You probably can't hear it. Which is one of the downsides to this design. It uses I don't have a screwdriver to take this apart. Maybe I do. Hold on. So it uses I don't have a straight screwdriver. What's he thinking? Hold on. hold on. It uses kind of a custom switch. It's a I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this apart with this. Certainly not so you can see it. Yeah, I can. Hold on a second. Here, you can see I'm inappropriately using a knife as a screwdriver. But that's life, okay? So, he put it together very well. So this thing uses a sensor switch that I think is used in refrigerators. So it's a little tiny switch right here. And one of the downsides to this is it's just kind of hard to get that switch. He put enough room in here to get the wires to tie in a knot so they don't come out. We made these in Pennsylvania and they work great. Again, there are some problems. There is no click, so you can't tell when you activated it. It's almost too small because you can't mount it anywhere. It doesn't feel like you're activating it when you push the lever down. So, but it's great. And it absolutely, if you have one and it works, that's fabulous. I wanted to take these, and Brady had a design online, just virtually. I didn't print one of his. I wanted to make one and put it together. So let me kind of show you where I ended up. That's probably better. Okay. So where I ended up was I decided to make one using this kind of switch right here. So hi, Dana, how are you? This type of switch, hi Chris Young, is called an MX Switch, Cherry MX Switch. I have one right here. I can show you. So these, let me make it a little brighter. There you go. So this is a Cherry MX Switch. These are keyboard switches for mechanical keyboards. And I decided I was going to make mine around these. And the reason is kind of several fold. The biggest thing is they come in like a million varieties, and we can take the absurdity of another community and we can use it to our benefit. So if you take a look at these switches online, there's actually a whole community around mechanical keyboards. Adafruit had a video out. If you do a search for Adafruit Colin mechanical keyboards, they will walk you through just how obsessive people are about these keyboards. And because of that, we kind of have a lot of interesting options. So we are choosing this one, which is the green, the cherry green. But there's actually a learning guide here on mechanicalkeyboards.com that will let you actually search through all of their different MX style key switches. So here you've got one that is about a third of about less than half of the force required for the one I'm using. It only takes 35 CNs, which is really gram force. These are the activation force necessary to click them. So you'll see there's different brands here. The one I'm choosing is about halfway down, the one I'm using. And you'll see that they have all different types of statistics about these different keys. So this one here, the Cherry MX Blue, is what I probably should have used as my default. It has a lower activation force, but it is both clicky and tactile. And what that means, if you look again at this on the overhead, so when I push this, right? Well, I hope my overhead doesn't give out on me. When I push this, that's easy, and then there's an additional resistance, and then it makes a click. So the tactile actually is the fact that it changes how hard you have to push as you go. And then the clicky is, I don't know if you can hear this, it makes a click. So there's different levels of clickiness, there's different levels of tactile, but there's a million different types of these silly switches that you can buy. And the people who buy them are, they are gamers, and they are people who type all day like programmers. And there are a million different types of keycaps, of keycaps as well. Those are the things that go on top, but these are key switches. So all of these have different, like this is a Hall effect. It's a even lighter touch. Or this one is tactile, this one is clicky. There's a million different types of these, and they're not expensive, or at least they're not too expensive. So I wanted to base my design around these so that people could have some options. If you want clicks, if you want light touch, if you want it to be linear where there's literally no change in force as you go, you should be able to change this to fit your needs just by buying these. They're not, like I said, they're not expensive. If you look at on mechanicalkeyboards.com, this is the one that we bought. It says $10 for 10, but if you buy 10 of them, it's $5 a piece. So you can get 100 of them for 50 bucks, 50 cents a piece. So they scale very nicely. You can probably buy in larger quantities than that and get a better discount. I might reach out to Mechanical Keyboard and see if they would send me a sample set given this project. In fact, I will. So mechanicalkeyboards.com, if you see this video, you will be hearing from me about that to see if I can get some to play with. But it's certainly something where we can, even if we have to pay a little bit for the switches, we at least have some options without changing the design. For those of you who want to get started right away, you can buy these on Amazon. So here they're $10 for 10 delivered. That's probably about right. About $1 a piece delivered is what you should be paying. And so let's talk about what the actual switch looks like when it's done. And I'll be assembling one here in a second. But it looks like this. Okay, so it's got a snap fit hinge. You press down on it. It is, as you can see, it is just a little bit wider than my finger. It is really short. I honestly, I wish I had made it a little bit longer, but I kind of couldn't given the design that I had. Like I said, I think this is a beta. I think it's a B right now, but it is certainly not bad. This is one of the parts. And this is the other. It prints in 2 parts. Each part takes about 10 to 15 minutes to print. On the bottom, it takes in a threaded insert, so you can mount it on a camera mount. This hole is just here because occasionally it's hard to get the switch back out, so you can pop it out with like a needle or something, or a screwdriver or whatever you have. And that's me screwing it in, and shows how to install it. So let me go ahead and show you how to assemble this and show you one in action. If you have any questions, please type them in over on Facebook. I only see hellos. I don't see questions yet. So let me kind of switch over to the overhead again, and I will assemble one. So as far as your basic parts go, let me turn off my face. All right. As far as your basic parts go, you've got the 2 printed pieces right here. Right, so they print like this. This one prints. You'll see that you may get one of these little hanging things in there. I found that there's a setting in Simplify that will get rid of that. It's called print perimeters as bridging. Treat perimeters as bridging, but it's okay if you cut that off. It doesn't make any difference at all. Even if you leave it on, it doesn't make any difference. But this is what one of them looks like. I wish this would stop changing the brightness. There you go. So it prints out with the little tabs. It also prints out, if you look here, with a little notch. And this is what holds on the top. Okay? So this is the top piece. The ones that are up in Thingiverse right now actually have our name on the back. This is one that I printed before I added that. So to assemble it, you're going to do the wiring. I'll show you. And then this will just literally slide in, and it slides down to where it's hard to do under the camera. It's hard to do in general. It's one of the things I'd like to improve about it. You basically have to push this down until it hits the button, the holes. There's one. So I'd like to show you this, but I may end up doing it off camera because I can't get my fingers in there. So there you go. There you go. So there's one, and then the other one you just got to snap it in like that. And so now this is very loose and flappy, and it's great. And if I had put the switch in there, it will. I don't know why this thing isn't focusing. There you go. So this will now move up and down and hit the switch. It is probably not as light touch as a microlight, but it probably doesn't have to be for everybody. So let's show the full assembly. Back this up a little bit. focus. All right. So first thing is you take the lower base and you run a wire through it. So this is a standard mono cord. It's just got the jack on the back. We buy these for about $1 a piece from DigiKey. And so you run it through the hole in the back. There's a little bit of a notch here. I'm not a big fan of the notch, but I added it because we actually have to have some place to, there's not enough room to tie this in a knot, but you can put a little zip tie on it to keep it from pulling out. Then you solder the 2 wires to the 2 tabs on the key. We use tack soldering. That's just one of the techniques we use. We teach the high school kids this too. So that basically, you guys can see here, you put solder on the tabs, you put solder on the wires, and then you just touch them together. This one has been manipulated a lot more than it would be, but these are connected. And then you very carefully pull the wire back in there like that, and then just take your switch and pop it in. So just like that, all the way down. Perfect. Okay, so once that's in, you need to put in the threaded insert. We use these 1/4-20 threaded inserts, and it is pre-threaded in the hole. I'm not entire. This is another place where I think I have a B on the way this holds in here. So I'll take an Allen wrench here and tighten it. I can talk to the Ruiz brothers about improving this design or helping me find a different threaded insert. I will tell you that if you over tighten this like I just did, you will see this little marking up here at the top. It does not matter because this is going to be covered by the top anyways. So make sure this is at least flush, if not a little bit indented, before you move on, because otherwise it won't sit flush on the table. And then all you've got to do is pop on the top. So we'll pop on the top. Hopefully this will go a little bit easier. So we got that side, and we'll pull this out a little bit and pop that on like that. And push this down. There you go. So once that's in place, this totally works. And if you listen carefully, you can totally hear. I don't know if you can totally hear. I can totally hear and feel when that switch activates. I don't know. I'll pull it over here by the camera. Hold on. So right here. Anyway, you can totally feel and hear it, and so that's the full assembly of that. So that's the whole deal. That's the whole switch. It's a nice, easy assembly. It is stable. One of the nicest things is that it does have this 1/4-20 mount on it, and that means that we can easily put it onto one of these Migos, right? Just by placing this in here. Yes, I'm using my fingernail. Yes, I know it'll break. I've heard. All right. Esther says, I can hear it too. I would like a switch, which I can feel, but not hear. So the trick with that is to use one of the MX switches that says tactile, but not clicky. And you'll be able to feel it and not hear it. That is one of the reasons I wanted to use these MX switches, is that there are so many options. All right, so I just put this on my hand. This is kind of our standard show-off Migo switch thing. I'm using a very small Migo. This is the new one for their tiny cameras. It's okay. I like it. It'll hold my finger in place, and I'll be able to activate this switch without any trouble. So I'm really glad we got this one done. Let me see if I have any questions. Esther says she doesn't want to be able to hear it. Yep. Okay. I think that probably does it, other than to show you a couple of things about where we're sharing it. If you look carefully here, you'll see that we have put this up on Thingiverse. So all our stuff's up on Thingiverse. This one says it's a work in progress. It really is. One of the things about it is I would like it to be a little bit easier to get those tabs in. I have a feeling one more revision of this is probably all that's needed. Here's the page. It's got basic instructions. I'm going to create a link back to this video here. I'll probably also upload this video to YouTube for those of you not on Facebook. Nothing fancy on how to print it. I printed it at 0.2 or 200 microns, so 0.2 millimeters. It doesn't really matter about the infill. It's all perimeters anyways, so it's an easy print. We can go in here and see the different files here and here, and they print out great. All right. Anything else that I need to share about this one? No, other than the fact that I will probably put together a guide on this. I think this is a good starting point for our kind of official one. So for Brady and Scott and Noah and Todd, if you guys would take a look at this, I also put in the Thingiverse, in the Things Files section, you'll also find the F3D. This is the Fusion 3D archive. Please feel free to download that, change this, fix it, whatever else you need. Noah and Pedro, obviously you're not, I don't think you're doing 3D Hangouts today, but if you have time to take a look at this, I would appreciate it. And then I think I'm going to get going. Remember, the driver for all of this is we will be doing the Adaptathon on Sunday. We have hundreds of toys. We're going to have hundreds of people, or at least 100 people. And we will be adding Switch interfaces to all those toys. We need a bunch of switches for testing, and also I probably will have more labor than toys. So while there's plenty of demand for toys, when it comes to people who actually bought toys and asked us to adapt them, or told us they were going to get the toys, we probably have more people than toys. So we're also going to be making these lights. We're going to be making Switch interfaces, and we need to be making switches as well. And I didn't want to only have the big smashable buttons. So now we got these, and we got these that are easy to print, easy to assemble, and gives us lots of work to do on Sunday. So if you have questions about that, go to ATMakers.org, follow the link to the Adaptathon page, and you're always welcome, of course, to reach out to us at adapt@atmakers.org or bill@atmakers.org or here on Facebook. So I'm going to head over to the other room and start another video showing how to adapt the Zoom tubes. And I hope to see you all then. Bye.